Awareness Day uniforms. Atlanta in the blue, and we are underway from Bankers Live Fieldhouse. The Dream have lost 8 games in a row. Indiana lost their last one at Washington, but have taken 2 of their last 3, including their last 2 games here at Bankers Live Fieldhouse in Montgomery. Called for traveling as Erica Wheeler providing pressure up there. Wheeler coming off that first All-Star appearance in late July. Tiffany Mitchell making her 5th start of the season and 5th in a row. Wheeler gets inside, leaves it back for Candace Dupree. Dupree on the pull-up, and she's got it. Candace Dupree, who is 6th all-time in the WNBA in scoring, and has Katie Smith in her sights. She could pass her by the end of the year. First look at Tiffany Hayes, who drew the foul on the baseline. Dupree called for the foul. Dupree had 16 points, led all scorers in Indiana's loss at Washington on Thursday. It's a game where the Fever were outscored by 14 in the third quarter. They lost by 13. So that frustrating third for Indiana doomed them a bit in what was otherwise a pretty solid 3 quarters of play. Nikki Collins, the head coach for Atlanta. In her 2nd season, she was Coach of the Year last year. Her Atlanta Dream Team won 23 games. Now, they're without Angel McCautry this year, and clearly that has been a really significant loss, as they went from 2nd in the league and into the semifinals to last place at 5-18. Banaja Laney on the pull-up, that's short. Mitchell on the crossover, baseline jump shot, that's long. Atlanta has the league's worst offense. They are 12th in the league on the offensive end. Brittany Sykes for Atlanta with a bucket, and she will go to the line looking to complete the and one. Sykes is a 5'9" guard out of Syracuse. In her 3rd season in the WNBA, really a nice find for Atlanta at 7th in the draft back in 2017. Dupree, the fader over Williams. Atlanta 12th in the league in offense. They are last in field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. Indiana won that game back in late July, scoring just 61 points. Machado had her first 3 of her career against Washington on Thursday. It's an aspect of her game that has been growing. Machado now 1 of 7 from the season. Hayes off the screen, knocks it down. And Tiffany Hayes has her first 2 at 13 points per game. Hayes had 13 back the last time these 2 teams matched up, but Indiana held her to 3 of 13 from the floor. Indiana would take that efficiency again. Mitchell gets inside and the finish. Tiffany Mitchell, who is inserted into the starting lineup for Kelsey Mitchell. Pokey Chapman flipping the Mitchells. Now 6 starts for Tiffany. That 3 off target for Williams. Sykes, rather. Dupree sees the double. Nice find inside. And Natalie Achano was on the board for the Fever. Achano with 9 points. Indiana's loss on Thursday. Montgomery, here's a 3. That falls. Mitchell gets inside. Got caught up in the air, had nothing to do with it. Once she got there. And Hayes slow to get up for Atlanta. When Atlanta was here on July 31st, Hayes went down and missed a portion of the second half. They can ill afford to lose her. This team's still trying to figure out how to play on the offensive end without Angel McCautry. McCautry averaged 19 points a game last year. She's a 5-time All-Star and Olympian, one of the top players in this league. Sykes on the fake. Sykes hangs. A loose ball foul will go against Atlanta. They catch Elizabeth Williams down there. Atlanta has shot under 40% from the field in 16 of their 23 games. The offensive end has really been what's held them back this year. Dupree looking underneath, somehow found its way to Achanwa. Off the deflection, here's Dupree. Sykes on the attack, tries to finish left side of the rim. That shot's too long. Mitchell out to Laney. Hesitates around Hayes, and Banaja Laney with a nice finish. It's Indiana back in front here from Bankers Live Fieldhouse. Thanks for joining us on CBS Sports Network. Montgomery gets inside. Handoff Williams. Renee Montgomery averages 3 assists per game. One of the more intelligent point guards in the league in her 11th season out of Connecticut. Dangerous pass. That got knocked away by Montgomery. Dupree able to track it down for Indiana. Laney back to Mitchell. Here's a 3. Hayes not afraid to fire. Achanwa, she'll take another 3, and this one goes. Well, maybe it just takes one for Natalie Achanwa. You see it go down, you gain some confidence after an 0-6 start from out there on the season. Hit that one in Washington, and when her game could extend out to that portion of the perimeter, an added weapon that Indiana really hasn't had, at least at the center position, for quite some time. Took that shot with a lot of confidence. Dupree tiptoeing the baseline and got around Breland. Sykes on the fake, gets inside, had it deflected. Breland the up and under. Laney trying to beat Atlanta back. Cross-court pass. Here's a Mitchell 3. Achanwa with the offensive rebound. Had it blocked by Breland. Achanwa, another look, was short. And now it's Hayes on the attack. Hayes gets the roll. And we're even at 13. There were 3 minutes left in the first from Bankers Live Fieldhouse. And a fast-moving quarter. Just 3 fouls called, and Wheeler turns it over. Does a nice job to get back on Breland. Forces the jump shot. Breland can't hit it. And Wheeler comes down with the board. Wheeler, pull-up 3. Yes! Well, if there's any aspect of Erica Wheeler's game that has improved the most, it might be her three-point shooting. Wheeler at 41%. If you're over that 40 mark, that is at an elite level. And Wheeler has been there, and it's maybe the biggest reason for her uptick in scoring is Hayes. She's got an answer. 7 points here in the first quarter for Tiffany Hayes. These two teams have been in lockstep here so far. Achanwa glides inside and draws the foul on Williams. Which is such a joy to watch Natalie Achanwa play. The cerebral center headed to the line. We're knotted at 16 here, first quarter from Bankers Live Fieldhouse. You're watching the Fever and the Dream, CBS Sports Network. Neither team is led by more than 4 points here in the first quarter. Indiana Fever, Atlanta Dream, WNBA basketball here from Bankers Live Fieldhouse in Indiana. Tiffany Hayes at 13 points per game. She's the leading scorer for Atlanta. She's off to a strong start. Already has 7 of Atlanta's 16. Hayes 3 of 6 from the floor. And she was such an integral part of Atlanta's run last year. They went 23-11. And she kind of played Robin to Angel McCautry's Batman. And Hayes is an all-star and one of the better players in this league, but this is an adjustment, having to play with all the spotlight, or a majority of the spotlight shown in her direction. But a great start for Natalie Achanwa, too, as she's got 7. Knocked down a three-pointer earlier in this one. Achanwa, who hadn't hit a 3 until Thursday, now has 1 in each of her last 2 games. Coffey off the screen, back to Gulich. Marie Gulich, second-year pro out of Oregon State. This is her first year in Atlanta. A center with the ability to stretch the floor. Atlanta's opened up 3 of 6 from the three-point line. Johnson looking inside, opts for McCall. Shot clock down to 3. McCall goes to work, left that one short. McCall, who has 14 of the 24 games she has not played in this year. Billings on the fake and got tripped up by McCall. We talked about it in the open. Stephanie Mavunga, 18 points, 12 rebounds in her last 2 games. She has come in and provided maybe not an unexpected spark, but at least one in an area that the Fever had not gotten this year. Mavunga had a really good rookie season until she went down with an ankle injury and never was quite the same when she came back for the final handful of games. Sykes with a shot clock down to 5. Sykes off the screen, spins, and Johnson took it out of her hands. Johnson going coast to coast. That left hand won't fall. Out of bounds will stay here with Indiana. There's Johnson on the defensive end, and as her season has gone on, she has looked more comfortable. She has looked more athletic, quicker on the floor, more confident. And you step under that 3, Johnson will make you pay more often than not. Can't there. There's McCowan, though, with the rebound. McCowan, who has been the best rebounder in the WNBA this year by minute on the floor. Kennedy Burks checked in. That won't go. McCowan battling for it. She's got another. McCowan tosses it up. McCowan gets the roll. Well, there's why you bring in a player like Tierra McCowan. She keeps the possession alive on back-to-back shots and then finishes on her own. In this game, which just barely got into the 60s when these two teams matched up on July 31st, off to a much better offensive start. Atlanta shooting 47% from the floor. Indiana 36%. But thanks to that offensive rebound where they have 5 of them, they've earned some fresh possessions. Maite Cazorla at the line, the rookie out of Oregon. There's Mitchell, who's been so strong in the last 2. Johnson on the fake. Johnson pulls up. That rims out on Shanice Johnson, and that will take us through 1. A tightly contested first here from Bankers Live Fieldhouse. The Atlanta Dream with a 1-point lead as we head into the second on CBS Sports Network. It's Breast Health Awareness Day from Bankers Live Fieldhouse. It's the Atlanta Dream by one after one here on CBS Sports Network. I'm Pat Boylan. Natalie Achanwa has had it rolling here in the first quarter. Achanwa with 7 points, knocked down a three as well. This is a welcomed and new sight to Natalie Achanwa's game, something she worked on overseas. And after a strong showing from beyond the arc, trying to adapt it here to her WNBA game, has a three in each of her last two. Johnson on a handoff from McCall. Johnson drives inside, the hesitation, and Johnson will go to the line. I'm talking about welcome sights. Shanice Johnson has been the best example of that probably as of late for Indiana. They're getting what is almost the equivalent of a trade deadline transaction bring-in with Shanice Johnson, who, coming back from that torn ACL a couple seasons ago, this is a different player than we saw at the beginning of the year. Johnson had 9 points in 13 minutes in Indiana's loss on Thursday. She's got 11 points per game in her last two on 8 of 11 shooting. And she's terrific from the free throw line at 93%. Entering this one, knocks down a pair there. Neither team's led by more than four. It's been tight from the get-go here, and to be expected. Indiana needed a shot from Erica Wheeler in the final 20 seconds to give the Fever a victory back on July 31st. Mitchell averaging 19 points per game in her last two. Burke off the screen, pulls up, that's short. And Billings battling for the rebound. A whistle on the floor goes against Marie Gulich of Atlanta. Tiffany Hayes, those 7 points the first quarter. She's got 9. An offensive foul on Mitchell, pushing off to create some space there in the corner. Eric Bruton, Daryl Humphrey, and Katie Lukanich, their officials here this afternoon. See Mitchell not going to get away with that with the ref standing right there. Gazorla called for steps. Atlanta's 5-18 on the season. They're 4-9 at home, just 1-9 away from it. It's been a frustrating year for the coach of the year from a season ago as Kennedy Burke knocks down what they'll say is a corner two. Coffee, cross-court pass, a Hayes three. Hayes got the switch to McCowan, got by her. Here's Maite Cazorla. McCowan pulls down her fourth rebound, and then Indiana turns it back over. Fever, on the other hand, are 4-8 at home and 4-8 away from it. They had a better record on the road last year than at home, and they have for a majority of this season, too. It wasn't until the Fever got wins in each of their last two here that they have evened that up. Sometimes that all-star break can be a difference maker for teams, and Pokey Chapman certainly hopes that's true of her. She feels like she has seen a different team out of the break. Coffee left alone for three. Billings battling for it. Gulich pulls it down for Atlanta. Hayes going into McCowan. That's a tough challenge. McCowan is called for the foul. Hayes has been aggressive from the opening tip for Atlanta. She's got 9 and can be the first into double figures from the line here. Hayes a 77% free throw shooter. Mentioned earlier what a fine Brittany Sykes was at 7 for Atlanta. Tiffany Hayes was the 14th pick back in 2012. Spent her entire career here in Atlanta. And that duo of her and McCautry, really one of the top duos in the league last year, as Atlanta was a legitimate title contender. So this has been a frustrating swing. Lose McCautry and haven't been able to pick up where they left off as Mitchell's off target on a three. And any team, they lose their best player. That's really tough to overcome, losing 19 points per game. I think that effort that Nikki Collin did last year was one of the more impressive coaching jobs that we've seen in the last decade or so in the WNBA. Gulich from the baseline. Dupree backing in that patented fadeaway jump shot. She left it short. Cazorla with a rebound for Atlanta. Indiana shooting at just 34% from the field. They've taken 5 more shots than Atlanta has, though. An offensive rebound has been the difference. And Tierra McCowan, a big reason for that, although she just picked up her second. Indiana has 6 offensive rebounds. And McCowan has 2 of them. She'll have to check out. And Stephanie Mavunga comes in for the Fever. This has been a major bonus, although Hayes gets around Mavunga and lays it in. Wheeler steps into a three. That drops. So Erica Wheeler's had that deep shot falling here this afternoon. Wheeler now 2 of 2 from the three-point line. Not often you see a player in year number 5, especially an undrafted one, improve so much in an aspect like shooting. And I think that is such a credit to who Erica Wheeler is. And look, she's defied so many odds beyond becoming a better three-point shooter to get here. Gulich straight away. Now she's got something no one can take from her. She will forever be a WNBA All-Star. Mavunga on the fake, puts on the moves. Mavunga dips in. That's a tough look. Played well by Billings. Montgomery has the mismatch on Mavunga. Billings, hands off down low. Gulich, good ball movement to Cazorla. But Atlanta turns it over first. 5:41 left in the second. This one's been tight throughout, and we're even from Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Basketball at Bankers Life Fieldhouse rarely comes to a pause. A great opportunity to get your kids out to the Fieldhouse here in the Indianapolis area. Let's take a look at the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule. On ESPN2 tomorrow night, Connecticut at Las Vegas. That is a 6 o'clock Eastern time tip. And then on CBS Sports Network, Wednesday, August 14th, you can catch Seattle at Washington at 8 o'clock. You can watch that one right where you're watching Fever and Dream here this afternoon. Dupree goes to work down low and lays it in. Dupree got good position. And Dupree now has 6. Billings spins inside. She's been strong here in the second quarter. That one rims out on her. Laney took contact to the face there off the screen. Mitchell bounces back. Candace Dupree. Strong first half for Dupree. She's got 8. Candace needs to average 12 points per game the rest of the way, as long as she's healthy in these final games. And she will pass Katie Smith for 5th all-time in scoring. Dupree also 8th all-time in rebounding. And it's unlikely she would get to 7th this year, Taj McWilliams-Franklin, but she's close enough that, again, as long as she stays healthy early next season, that will come into play. The Dreamer into the penalty. Already 5 fouls on Indiana here halfway through the second. Billings 1 of 2 from the line. Wheeler, shot clock down to 7, puts on the Jets. Laney, shot clock down to 3, just has to hoist it up there. Atlanta touched that last. That'll go back to Indiana with a fresh shot clock. Okie Chapman with that very appropriate jacket there for Breast Health Awareness Day here from Bankers Live Fieldhouse. Mitchell, the pull-up 2. And again, off of Atlanta, right off, hitting the rim. So it'll be fever ball again with a shot clock at 14. Wheeler spots Dupree again from the baseline, and Candace Dupree has been strong here in the first half. 5 of 8 from the floor. She's in double figures with 10. Indiana with their largest lead of the first half. Mitchell goes under that screen. Sykes goes to work. Coffee a 3. Yes. Yeah, Coffee averages 6 points per game. A good three-point shooter, though. She's at 41% from out there. Mitchell draws the double, and contact there as well out on the perimeter. Natalie Achanwa will come in for Stephanie Mavunga. Coffee is out for Elizabeth Williams for Atlanta. Atlanta charged with a delay of game warning there as Williams did not have her jersey tucked in. Wheeler right to the rim, left that one short. Achanwa cleans up for Indiana. That one hit the underside of the backboard. It was deflected. Atlanta's shooting it pretty well, 42% from the floor. You consider they average 36% as a team. They're at 36% from 3. That's about 8 percentage points north of their average. Hayes dips inside, got 2 more. Tiffany Hayes has 15 in the first half. She had 28 when these two teams matched up in Atlanta. Mitchell on the move, got to the rim, and then lost the handle on the way up. Indiana with a 2-point lead, 35-33, under 3 minutes left until halftime. Watching the Fever and the Dream, WNBA basketball on CBS Sports Network. No other player for Atlanta has more than 3 points in the first half, except for Tiffany Hayes, who's been electric. 15 for Hayes on 6 of 10 from the floor. 2 of 2 from the foul line as well. She's knocked down a 3. And she's been the star that Atlanta needs her to be this season. Montgomery bounces for Williams. Sets up Sykes. Mitchell battling for it, and Tiffany Mitchell called for the foul as Hayes got back there and got the rebound, and she's the type of player that Indiana was able to frustrate her on that July 31st game. She went 3 of 10 from the floor, 3 of 13 from the floor, got a technical foul as well. But when she is on, and the momentum is on her side, One of the more difficult players in the league to defend, and she has had everything working here in the first half. 16 points now for Hayes. It's hard to believe a player out of Connecticut was a bit overlooked, but that was certainly the case for her in that 2012 draft in the second round. Laney, corner three, got it. That's a strong sign for Indiana and an important one. Benaja Laney, who's been hot and cold with that three-point shot this season. If defenses have to guard her out to the perimeter, it certainly opens up a lot of other avenues. Laney on the floor for her defense, one of the top defensive stoppers in the league, and Indiana comes up with a turnover. Wheeler lofts it. Dupree got too far under. And now Mitchell on the attack. Here's Laney. She'll try it again. She's got it again. Benaja Laney, a 29% three-point shooter, has put Indiana up by 6. Nikki Collin will take a timeout. 1:36 until halftime. The Atlanta Dream looking at their largest deficit. It's come from somewhat of an unlikely source. Benaja Laney did not score in 11 minutes on Thursday. And she's got 6 points here in the last minute for the Fever. Laney, who, make no mistake, is on the floor for her defense first. When that corner three is falling, it is a completely different weapon for Indiana's offense. She's never going to be the primary scorer, a go-to weapon on offense, but if she can make the defense honest enough to where they have to stay out and defend her out to the perimeter, it opens up all sorts of things for the Fever. See Kelsey Mitchell in there. She's played just 4.5 minutes here in the first half. Mitchell coming off 20 and 18-point performances in her last two. Indiana playing really well on the offensive end. 41 points here. With 96 seconds to go until halftime, the Fever averaged 77 points per game. After this one, the Fever don't play again until August 18th. They've got 8 days between games. Atlanta plays on Tuesday at Las Vegas. Elizabeth Williams and Jessica Breland chatting things over. Breland, a former Fever player, played briefly in Indiana in that 2013 season off of the title. Hayes got inside, athletic move. She couldn't finish. Sykes sets up Breland. The long two falls. First step from Tiffany Hayes. So impressive. A rare miss for her. Breland able to help Atlanta cash in on the possession. Dupree backing in on the smaller Montgomery. Out to Wheeler. Wheeler has the mismatch. Williams, Achanwa. Stay with us here at halftime. It is Breast Health Awareness Day from the Fieldhouse. We'll chat with Pokey Chapman on just why this day is so special to her. Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb is in attendance. He'll join the broadcast at the half. Williams looking underneath. There just wasn't enough space. And now Achanwa came up with the steal. Able to feed it back to Wheeler. About 10 seconds between the clocks. Wheeler with 6 points in the first half. She's 2 of 3 from the floor. Has 5 assists. Mitchell looking inside for Achanwa and an offensive foul on Indiana. Achanwa pushed off down there in the post. I wonder what direction Atlanta might look here in the final seconds. It's Hayes. Splits the double. Hayes on the attack. Finds Sykes cutting to the rim. And this time it's Hayes setting up. Getting the assist. One more look for the Fever. Mitchell's got to get it up there. She does. She got a good look. But that'll take us to halftime. The Atlanta Dream close with the final 4 points of the second. It's the Fever by 2. after 2. Indiana Fever, Atlanta Dream. This is WNBA basketball on CBS Sports Network. (41-39) the score at halftime. The Indiana Fever in front here after 2 at Bankers Life Field. Oh. Indiana's youngest fans enjoying that first half of basketball from Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Indiana up by 2 at the break. It has been really competitive. The Fever briefly took a 6-point lead, but neither team is led by more than 6. And Atlanta closed out the quarter strong with a 4-0 run. And this is probably to be expected. These teams played a neck-and-neck game 10 days ago, and not a whole lot has changed other than the offense. These two teams played a game in the upper 50s, low 60s back in late July, and at least through the first half, we look like we might be more destined for the 80s here tonight. Indiana shot at 41% from the field in that first half. Mitchell with a shot clock down to 4. Laney will have to fire, and that's an air ball, and not the way the Fever hoped to open up the second half. Atlanta at 44% from the field in the first half. Hayes was 6 of 12. No other player for Atlanta made more than 2 shots. Indiana was +2 on the glass. The Fever are 5th in the league in rebounding. Atlanta is 11th. Breland had it knocked away by Dupree. Sykes tried to split the double. Lost it out of bounds. And we'll go to Indiana. 5 assists already in the first half for Erica Wheeler. She averages just over 5 a game as Natalie Achanwa turns the shoulder. Wheeler at 5.4 assists per game. That is 5th in the league in the assist category. Hayes gets inside and the finish. Achanwa was there to meet her, but Hayes got good position. And Tiffany Hayes now with 19 for Atlanta. Mitchell trying to turn the corner, was cut off by Hayes. Just the first on Hayes. Well, as the Fever were really struggling, at one point they were 6 and 15. Hokie Chapman choosing to go with this lineup that featured Tiffany Mitchell over Kelsey. Dupree. Tiffany, who started the season really with the goal of 6th Woman of the Year. But as the year has evolved, Chapman trying to mix things up. Kelsey Mitchell has come off the bench. Now, she's been electric in the last 2. Has only played 4.5 minutes here so far tonight. It's an 8-0 run dating back to the first half for Atlanta, who has retaken a 3-point lead. Atlanta has not led by more than 3. Indiana not more than 6. Dupree gets inside, hands off Achanwa. And a foul to go along with it for Natalie Achanwa. You could watch WNBA basketball all day, every day, and you will not find a more cerebral player in the post, maybe overall, than Natalie Achanwa. I mean, she is in the right spot at the right time almost every single time. And while there are, of course, some limits to her game, when you have a player as cerebral as Achanwa, it fills so many holes, fills so many gaps. Team Canada national player. It's hard to believe this is already year 5 for her in Indiana. Montgomery will launch and connect. Atlanta feeling it here in the second half. Already 9 points in the third quarter. Indiana trying to answer. Mitchell had a three pop out. And now it's Sykes attacking the rim with the left hand. Wheeler gets inside, gets the finish. Erica Wheeler off glass, and she turns that tempo up. It has been something that Pokey Chapman has been pleading for most of the season. Indiana's 10th in the league in pace and has not gotten out of that spot really since the early going. It's been one of the few rankings that has held steady for Indiana. And while you can win with quick pace, you can win with a slower pace. Pace does not necessarily indicate your success on the offensive end. Chapman wants to play quicker. Sykes crossing into the lane. Here's a Hayes three from the corner. She's got it. And Tiffany Hayes has 22 points for Atlanta. Wheeler dips in, floats it back up. And that glass has been friendly for Erica Wheeler here in the third. Atlanta already with 11 points in 3.5 minutes. Hayes. That won't go, and an offensive foul. Natalie Achanwa drew it. Hayes felt like she got it up before that foul, and had that gone in, it would have been an interesting ruling. I think they would have given her that bucket and then called the offensive foul. Wheeler draws the double. Back for Achanwa. Wheeler had it knocked away. Good play by Breland. And now some extracurricular. These two teams, dating back to their last game, have now played 6.5 quarters of extremely tightly contested basketball. Indiana still in the playoff hunt. They're 4 games out of 8 with 10 to play. Wheeler is charged with the technical. Atlanta is 6 games out in the loss column, 6.5 back of 8. So Daryl Hamilton explaining that the foul was on Atlanta, but then the push-off after on Wheeler was the technical. This relationship has been so fun to watch. Mentor, mentee, coach, player. Mitchell, pull-up jump shot. That won't fall. Here's Kelsey Mitchell, who checks in a straightaway three. It's a really good look for Kelsey as Indiana tries to get their second overall pick going here in the second half. Sykes on the move. Brittany Sykes now with 6, and that will put her right at 1,000 career points. It's been a really nice start to a career for Brittany Sykes. Lenny on the attack, draws the double, left it back for Achanwa. Good ball movement. Here's Mitchell, a three. She's had a couple really good looks. You won't see her miss those too often. Now it's Hayes crossing over, and Mitchell read it perfectly. Indiana with a 4-on-3. Mitchell pulls up and couldn't get the roll. Achanwa with the rebound. That won't fall. Atlanta with their largest lead at 5. Indiana with just 7 points in the quarter. Mitchell on the move to the rim. Oh, Kelsey Mitchell has done everything right here in the third quarter, but find the bottom. Hayes gets inside. Good defense from Laney cut off by Breland, finds Dupree. Indiana not scoring at their typical clip here in the third quarter, but they really can't blame their looks. Mitchell's had a couple open threes. A good look at it, too. Dupree, that's a shot that she hit 7 times out of 10 when she's open. Mitchell on the attack, lost the handle. She was looking for a Chanwa. Cazorla bouncing for Williams. Maite Cazorla. Eyes in the back of her head, and Elizabeth Williams gives Atlanta the largest lead we've seen this afternoon. Atlanta by 7. The Atlanta Dream with a 7-point lead midway through the third. They've outscored Indiana 16-7 to open up the quarter. Here's a look at the WNBA standings, 8th through 12 heading into today. Mercury in 8th. That's the team everybody's trying to catch. Indiana 4 games back. Atlanta 6.5 behind Phoenix. Minnesota also is 11-11. So catching either of those teams would do the trick. McCowan with good position down low. Once she saw the mismatch on Billings, McCowan knew what to do with that, and she'll go to the line for free throws. McCowan at 67% this year. This number has gone up. She shot it around 75% at Mississippi State. It'll be really interesting to watch McCowan's career unfold because she's such a physical threat down low. She's so strong. But she's got a pretty good-looking shot, and I think she's got the chance to develop an outside game in the pick and pop. It's never going to be her go-to. And rebounding and defense is always going to be her calling card. See those, a couple good-looking free throws there for McCowan. Sykes from the corner. She's got it. And Brittany Sykes now with 9, and Atlanta goes up by 9 points. Indiana led by 2 at the half. Cross-court pass. Here's Mitchell. That goes. And Indiana needed that response for Kelsey Mitchell. He's gotten some good looks here in the third quarter. Now 1 of 3 from the three-point line. Hayes has been electric. Cazorla can't leave her open, but that's way off target. And now Mitchell comes up. The inbound pass. Mitchell. Back to Wheeler. Johnson on the fake inside of McCowan. McCowan turns. McCowan lays it in. So a quick 5-point response for Indiana. And you can just see with every single game, Tierra McCowan gets a little more comfortable down there. Everything's slowing down a little for Indiana's 3rd overall pick in 2019. Cazorla draws the double. McCowan came in there to deflect it. Wheeler takes it away. Back for Johnson. Dupree backs inside. Fakes right. Charges left in with the left hand. Candace Dupree. Dupree now has 12, and Indiana with a 7-0 response has drawn back within 2. Sykes tiptoeing the baseline, found some space underneath. And a nice aggressive move for Brittany Sykes, who has 11 and has been at her best here in the third. Dupree too far underneath. Shot clock down to 6. Wheeler with a shot clock down to 3. Just has to hoist it up. Oh! She got it to go off glass. Erica Wheeler. A slight shrug of the shoulders. Whatever works for the Fever All-Star. Hayes back inside. Got the roll and a foul. Tiffany Hayes now with 24 points. The 2017 All-Star has looked the part here tonight. You see that fake to get past Mitchell. Hayes is a 77% free throw shooter. 4 of 4 from the line here tonight. Wheeler with a shot clock down to 3. This has been a problem for Indiana as of late. Wheeler can't get the bounce this time. But a rebound for McCowan. McCowan couldn't finish. Tries to volleyball it to herself. Hayes took it away. Now Johnson with a steal. Mitchell on the attack. Gets inside and puts it in. That's a big bucket for Indiana. One more look here for Atlanta. This is Cazorla. The Atlanta Dream trailed by 2. Heading into the third, had a lead by as many as 9 in the quarter, but Indiana closing the fourth with a flurry, and the Fever trail by 3. It's Atlanta by 3 after 3 as Kelsey Mitchell puts off the finishing touches for the Fever. Tiffany Hayes' 25 points through 3 quarters has been the leading story of this one. Hayes, who had 28 against Indiana back in June in Atlanta's 24-point victory. That's her season high. Just 3 points shy of it as we open up the fourth. Here's Hayes on the baseline, got underneath. McCowan pulls down the rebound. Indiana trailed by 9 at one point in the third. They look back for McCowan. McCowan turns the shoulder. Tierra McCowan, she has just such a height advantage over anyone Atlanta wants to toss out there. Even Elena Coates, who just checked in, and a really big body at 6'4". McCowan is 6'7", and when she's got matchups like this, she becomes a more important offensive weapon for the Fever. McCowan rolls both of them in. She's 3 of 4 from the line here tonight. McCowan with 7 points to go along with 5 rebounds and 9 minutes of play. Hayes got by Wheeler. McCowan comes over to defend, and Hayes draws the foul. When Hayes gets downhill like this, so difficult to stop, and you can see the hip check there by McCowan. That's McCowan's 3rd foul. Hayes is now 6 of 6 from the free throw line. At 26, she's 2 points shy of her season high. There's her first miss. Mitchell off the screen, pull up 3. She's got it. And Kelsey Mitchell, they'll call that a 2 on the floor, and they'll take a look at it right now, has tied this one up. Mitchell was 7 for the Fever, who have battled back from a 9-point deficit. Hayes will go to work again. Mitchell, Johnson play catch. Here's Mitchell. That won't fall. And a loose ball foul on Atlanta. They got Coates, I believe. 81. Atlanta Coates charged with the foul as she was battling with McCowan down there in the post. Atlanta Coates was the number 2 overall pick in 2017. Just her 2nd year, but was waived by Minnesota. She's been on Chicago, Minnesota, and Atlanta now.
Wheeler draws the double. Dupree backing in on Billings, and Billings fouled Dupree. Dupree with 12 points. Here's her first trip to the line of the evening. Dupree's an 82% free throw shooter. Tiffany Hayes taking a brief rest for Atlanta. She has played 30 minutes so far of a 32-minute game. She'll probably get a couple more minutes on the bench, and then Nikki Collin will go back to her shooting guard the rest of the way. Indiana's back in front by 2. Both teams have already scored more points than we saw back here in late July. It's a 15-5 run for Indiana after Atlanta used a 20-7 run to balloon that lead near double digits. Sykes steps back on McCowan. She got the roll. A shooter's bounce for Brittany Sykes, who's been strong here in the second half. 13 points on the night. She and Hayes have combined for 39 of Atlanta's 66. Johnson steps into a 3. It's a good-looking shot in rhythm for Shanice Johnson. And through the hands of Nia Coffey, an unforced turnover for Atlanta. That's their 13th. Indiana has taken good care of the ball here tonight. Just 7 turnovers, and that's been a problem for the Fever as of late. Sykes goes step by step with Mitchell. Here's Johnson. Montgomery bouncing for Williams. She draws the double. Got it taken away. Candace Dupree with a steal. And now Mitchell, Atlanta got back with numbers. As Mitchell was darting down the left side of the lane, got fouled from behind by Sykes. That's the 4th foul on Atlanta. Could argue was an ill-advised foul by Sykes, because the next defensive foul will put Indiana into the penalty. 4 fouls in just over 3 minutes for Atlanta. Wheeler pulls up and hits. Erica Wheeler quietly has had a really strong afternoon. 14 points, 6 assists for the Fever All-Star. Sykes with a pull-up. Here's Montgomery, a 3. Couple good looks there for Atlanta. They can't cash in. Johnson thought about it. She'll take and hits. Mitchell to Johnson. That duo getting more minutes here in the second half for Pokey Chapman. And it's a 15-point swing as Indiana's erased a 9-point deficit. Sykes will launch. You wonder how long Tiffany Hayes sits on that bench for Atlanta. Indiana looking to continue to cash in with her off the floor. Johnson turns the corner, put it up there for McCowan. It was behind her. Tiffany Hayes has 26 points. She's played 30 of the 35 minutes so far. On the bench right now for Atlanta. Sykes to the rim. The left hand. And they'll get a foul on Indiana. Here McCowan charged with the foul. 5:15 left in this one. The Fever lead the Dream by 5. You're watching WNBA basketball. A 22-8 run for the Indiana Fever has erased a 9-point deficit and put Indiana up by 5. A lot of that recent portion coming with that lady, Tiffany Hayes, for Atlanta on the bench. As Nikki Collin had to get a couple minutes of rest so she could have a chance at a strong final burst for Atlanta. Sykes at the line for 2. She's a 72% free throw shooter. Sykes and Hayes have combined for 40 of Atlanta's 67. Hayes is 2 points shy of her season high and 6 points shy of her career high. 5:15 to do more damage onto some of those personal records. Dupree down low for McCowan, who got fouled. And at 5:04, Indiana enters the penalty. The Fever, on the other hand, have committed just 3 fouls, so they still have 1 more to give. Tierra McCowan, who's 3 of 4 from the line here tonight, a 67% free throw shooter. And this is really an important aspect of her game. If she can shoot it at the 75% or so that she did at Mississippi State, you won't be able to foul her. You won't be able to try to intentionally put her at the line. And how's about that? 5 of 6 for the free throw line here this afternoon for Tierra McCowan. And Indiana gets that lead back to 5. Hayes driving baseline, found some space, rolls it in, 2 more, but an offensive foul, that won't count. Tiffany Hayes, I thought she had her 28th point. Oh, and they've changed this. They have reversed the call. Eric Bruton came in and reversed this. Take a couple looks. Was Johnson in the semicircle? Looked like she might have been. Look at Johnson's left heel. And even if you have your heel above the zone and not making contact with the floor inside of the restricted circle, you are still in. And that is a really nice job by this officiating crew to get that right. It's a big momentum swing. It only turns into a 2-point play for Atlanta. A 1-possession game with under 5 minutes to go. You wouldn't have expected any different. These two teams playing in a tightly contested one just a week and a half ago. Dupree, back to Johnson. Got inside. She couldn't finish. Tiffany Hayes has now matched her career high at 28. Sykes got by Wheeler right to the rim. Dupree there to meet her. Wheeler on the attack, back from McCowan. Good position. She's got it. Well, Tierra McCowan, the offensive weapon for Indiana here this afternoon. She's got 11. Hayes from the corner. That won't go. Fever have been in so many 1- and 2-possession games this year. Dupree looking for McCowan again. This time Atlanta able to fight her off. Wheeler back for Mitchell. Here's a 3. This duo of Sykes and Hayes. And they mount the comeback here for Atlanta. Montgomery off the screen. Mitchell goes under. Indiana's 13-4 all-time on Breast Health Awareness Night. Erica Wheeler will take a timeout as the Fever look to continue their strong run of play over the years on this special day. It's the Fever by 5 with 3:04 left to go from the Fieldhouse. 3:04 left to go here in the fourth quarter from Bankers Live Fieldhouse. So we've had an entertaining day of basketball here from the Indiana Fever and Atlanta Dream. Mind you, tomorrow night, you catch Connecticut at Las Vegas on ESPN2. This is the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule. And And then on CBS Sports Network on Wednesday, August 14th, Seattle at Washington. That's an 8 o'clock tip. Candace Dupree, quietly done what she does best. 14 points, 9 rebounds. That consistent effort from her has been there as of late. Dupree back for McCowan. McCowan turns her shoulder. It's an offensive foul. That's the 4th on the Fever Center. Achan was started this game. The two have played similar minutes. Natalie with 19, Tierra with 15. Montgomery turns the corner. Shot clock down to 5. Montgomery out to Breland for 3. Indiana will take that defensive possession. Time comes off the clock. Dupree spins, had it deflected, and a foul is there too on Breland. That last possession, Dupree left it off for McCowan and then showed a sign of frustration in herself, wishing she had just taken it herself. And this time, putting things into her own hands. There's the contact on the wrist. This has been a really well-officiated game as Dupree sinks the first. Eric Bruton, Daryl Humphrey, Katie Lukanich have been on top of it. Two of two from the line for Dupree. Nikki Collin takes a timeout. The Atlanta Dream trailing by 7 with 2:14 to go. The Fever, who averaged 77 points per game, right at that season average. They've been strong on the offensive end here today. The shooting percentage right around 40. But 11 offensive rebounds. 37% from the three-point line. The Fever are +6 on the glass, and they've taken care of the ball. When you're +6 on the glass and +5 in the turnover margin, you're going to take a lot more shots than the opponent. Indiana's taken 14 more field goal attempts than has Atlanta. Atlanta is shooting better than the Fever, which they did when Indiana got that win back on July 31st. It's nearly impossible to overcome your opponent taking 14 more shots than you have. Atlanta's got 2:10 to try to put a dent into this one. Hey, she lost it. Wheeler with the steal. Wheeler draws the foul. Now Wheeler a bit slow to get up. Favoring that right wrist. Hayes has been so strong here tonight, but Indiana's been able to hold her in check at least here in the fourth. Hayes had 26 going into the final quarter. And 2 points here in the fourth. And hear Pokey Chapman talk about closing out games. It's not always the final couple minutes that has had her concerned at times this year. It's this stretch of 2 to 5 minutes left to play, when in previous games she's felt like Indiana hasn't taken advantage of leads, chances to extend them like this. They did that against Minnesota. And their last win here from the fieldhouse, they're trying to do it again tonight with an 8-point lead. Hayes out to Breland. She's got a 3, and Atlanta brings the lead back within 5. Montgomery hounding Wheeler. Wheeler faces the double. Dupree, cross-court pass. Shot clock down to 5. Mitchell will launch. She's got it! Kelsey Mitchell! The exclamation point for Indiana. And with a shot clock winding down, nothing going on the offensive end. Why not find your hot hand? Mitchell, who had not scored in those first 2 quarters, now with 10 points on the night. They've all come in the second half. And Indiana's best pure shooter comes through in a big moment. And that's why she can be such a weapon. Shot clock winding down, you put it in her hands. And it's also why at times her field goal percentage may not be quite as high as you'd like it. She takes a lot of these shots where the shot clock winds down and Indiana's in a tough position and they know she's their best look, even though it's a difficult look regardless. Mitchell, who had 20 points against Minnesota, 18 against Washington. He's only played 19 minutes here tonight, but has 10 points. And what Indiana hopes is the shot that'll stave off the Atlanta Dream. Breland, a quick three. That's way off target. Wheeler with the rebound. Hokie Chapman alerts her point guard. Let's run a little clock here. Dupree inside for McCowan. It went through her fingertips and out of bounds off Indiana. The Fever had just 2 wins through 10 home games. They hit the All-Star break, and they're threatening a 3-0 home slate post-All-Star break if they can hold on in the final 106 here. So the officials heading over to the scores table to review possession here. It's Eric Bruton on the right, Darrell Hamilton on the left. They confirm that call on the floor. Nice job of that group to get that taken care of in a timely manner. If you're Atlanta, this is still a 3-possession game, so you have to work quickly here. They have 2 timeouts left. Hayes, corner 3. That falls, and Tiffany Hayes has 31. It's a season high. Atlanta back within 5. Fever content to run some clock here. Shot clock back to single digits. Wheeler, here's Dupree. She's got space. And a loose ball foul on the floor. Who's it against? And Elizabeth Williams is who they're going to get the foul on. That is a big decision, and we'll watch Williams, who's been trying to battle with McCowan. Instead, Tierra will go to the line with 2 free throws. What about Tierra McCowan here from the foul line? Now 6 of 7, 12 points, 6 rebounds for the Fever center. Sykes, she'll fire. So Indiana touched that last, and they're going to head right back to the scores table here to see if that was indeed the right call. McCowan didn't really argue it. But Eric Bruton, Darrell Humphrey, and Katie Lukanich will make sure. Tough to tell there. A lot of hands in on that one, and at least so far, nothing that would lead you to reverse that call. And it did look like it hit McCowan last. It's Darrell Humphrey to the left, Eric Bruton to the right. Again, Indiana doesn't play again until August 18th. The Fever schedule was really front-loaded with games. And so they will have a lighter final portion to their schedule than most of the league. Call on the floor is confirmed. With 28 seconds left here. Atlanta really running out of time from the aspect of not having to play the foul game. Even if they were to hit a quick three here on the inbound, there would be about 24 seconds left. Hayes off the screen. Here is a three. She's got it. Tiffany Hayes has made this a three-point game. She's now got a career-high 34 points. And she will not let Atlanta say die. What an evening this has been for Tiffany Hayes. Maybe the best night of her career. And she's buried a couple of threes. And Atlanta now down by just one possession. Erica Wheeler going to the line, an 85% free throw shooter. With this grouping the Fever had on the floor, they weren't going to get it into McCowan, and everybody else is 85% or better. So a pair of big free throws from Erica Wheeler extend this lead back to 5. By the way Tiffany Hayes is playing, you are not in the clear just yet. You really have to credit Nikki Collin over there because she has drawn up a couple of really nice plays to get Hayes a couple of looks. Hayes with 34, Sykes has 15. The duo has combined for 49 of Atlanta's 79. Breland with 10, Indiana's leading scorer. It's been more balanced. Wheeler now has 17. Dupree has 16. There was the earlier three from Tiffany Hayes. And then the one that made it a three-point game. That is such a tough shot. As good as Tiffany Hayes is, the three-point shot really isn't her game. 29% from distance heading into this one. But what do they so often say in terms of shots late, free throws late? You don't necessarily want your best shooter, you want your toughest player. Hard to argue who fits that mold for Atlanta. Hayes will inbound here. Indiana will have to watch her right after that inbound pass. Breland got Dupree into the air, and Breland hits a three. It's a 2-point game, and Wheeler is fouled again. They called that a three, by the way, on the floor from Breland. It looked pretty close. So far, no sign that they want to take a look at it. Take a look. This is really close. So Wheeler to the line. And the first rims in. She needs them both to keep it a 2-possession game. Erica Wheeler has been huge for the Fever when they've needed her from the line. Now 19 points for Erica Wheeler. They have yet to come over the monitor and officially take a look at this Breland three, but we've had a couple looks at it over here on the scores table, and it is really, really close. And I'm a bit surprised that they haven't gone over here and taken a look, although Bruton and Humphrey both said they both got a look at it, and it was a three. But, I mean, this is the kind of shot. We're seeing it over here that you would need to zoom into the pixel to find out. It is so close. But regardless, it's not something that the officials want to take a look at. Still a 2-possession game because Erica Wheeler has been perfect from the line for Indiana here in the fourth quarter. Atlanta's made 3 straight three-pointers. Montgomery, tough shot. That won't go. It fell to the hands of McCowan. Williams puts it up. That won't fall. McCowan with the rebound. And that's the 6th foul on Williams. Well, you might remember when these two teams matched up on July 31st, Sierra McCowan preserved the game with a couple of blocks down low. Could call that a walk-off rebound. Atlanta out of timeouts. Fever with a 2-possession lead. Sierra McCowan now 7 of 9 from the free throw line. Sykes gets rid of it. And that'll do it. The Indiana Fever with an 87-point offensive outburst get the win over Atlanta. 87-82 behind balanced scoring. Erica Wheeler with 19. Candace Dupree clocking in with 16. And some big free throws down the stretch. Help keep Atlanta at bay. We'll chat with one of the members of the Indiana Fever, the victorious Fever. Coming up right after this, Indiana earning their 9th win of the season. A victory over Atlanta.